Yeah. Let's get that going. Whilst I'm setting up, I'll let you listen to the song, and I'm going to listen to the song as well, just to make sure everything is good, a-okay. I've not listened to these vocals since we put it in prior. Firestarter vocals could be absolutely trash, might not even be in the right key, so let's have a listen and make sure everything's a-okay. I think it might be cool if it says I'm a and just kind of stops there. I'll give it a go. Yeah, and then has the breathe in, and then here it says twist it. Twist it, and then just drills there. That is what I want. And that is what I'll get. Paste and duplicate. And what's going on over here? We'll just take that then and put that there. The reason is that because we've got a breath here, I want that to kind of stand out a little bit more. And the way to do that is to not layer in extra stuff on top of it. And yeah, I think we're going to repeat that sort of process. Copy that and paste it there. Normally, again, I shouldn't be doing these sort of changes at the mixdown stage, but fuck it. I've not technically started the mixdown yet. Now this is going to get absolutely mental, I think. Compressor is working fucking hard here. Fucking hard. Let's just put makeup on. That's what it is. Yeah, alright, cool. Let's collect all and save and move forward with the mix. So I'm sure you're going to be able to guess what I'm going to do next. Motherfucking reference, and you know that motherfucking reference is going to be a motherfucking pink noise. Let's just call it a reference. And let's get pink noise up in here. Lovely. Sounds absolutely beautiful. We've got that. I think it doesn't perfectly repeat, but we've got a little bit here which overlaps, and I think that should cover everything. Let me just check volumes. One moment, it might be a bit loud. There you go. Volume's all sorted for you. You're welcome. Happy to help. Alright, so I'm just going to silence everything. And I think the ratio of snare is probably fine. It's so whack, but it's probably fine. Let's just start with a kick and then we can investigate the snare later on anyway. Let's loop this little section here. Let's see what work I've done. A little bit of saturation and nothing on the full bus. That's fine. Okay, that's great. You can see, big kick here. Too much. That's what we're looking for, right there, that lump. You see, it does repeat, but these are quieter. I've made it quieter. So it's not perfect. Better way to do it. Now let's investigate these snares. I was about to say we should put a clipper and limiter on it. It's already got it on. That's perfect. Lovely. Lovely. Truly beautiful. I take it these are EQ'd? No EQ and no EQ. Very interesting from me to do that. Though it does sound pretty good. I'm just thinking in terms of cleaning it up, it may be beneficial. So that's peaking about there, a little bit there, but about there. It's about 350-ish. Right there, yeah, 380, call it. And then this one's peaking 320, very similar. And then the other one, at almost 320 as well. But we've put them to key as well. We've got E apparently and E apparently. So it should be fine. I wonder why I color coded this. I never color code anything. But here we go. Life is wild sometimes. I think, to be honest with you, I think it's actually okay in terms of EQ. It's like we've got a slight roll off right at the very tippity tip. Not sure why. And then nothing there. Is that automated? There isn't any automation. I thought that. Why is that doing that? I'm going to leave it just in case, but kind of crazy. All right, yeah, I think the ratios sound perfect. Let's just listen one more time and make sure that the snares sound great. This sounds great to me. Okay, never mind these EQs. Clip and limiter, doing a good job. And let's adjust the whole shit accordingly with the pink noise. Again, it may be a bit loud. Come down here. I'm slouching, you know. All right, let's get into it. You can see it over there. We've got peaks here, peaks here, peaks here, here. That's what we're looking at. Now this peak is coming out quite a bit, but you've got to remember that this line should be a line like that, yeah? This whole thing is like one lump, and then another lump, and then another lump, right? And so we're really looking to treat, I'm trying to look at almost at the tops of these as peaks. So although this is a trough, and so it's peaking out of the trough, right? Out of the valley, not at a peak. And so if this was an actual straight line, that would be there, and that's okay. Yeah, maybe a bit high, but that other snare is so much quieter, perceived quieter, because it's on the lower end, lower frequency, and so we kind of just have to sit tight and let that be. If we listen to it all together, just kick and snare without the noise. That's good. All right, let's keep it rolling with the noise as well. We're going to close kick and snares because we've got it. Now, let's have a listen to these cymbals just on their own. I want to make sure that these are decent ratios, essentially, of volumes. fuck it, why not? That's good, but we'll go down here because we quite simply do not need any sub information from a fucking crash. I think the ratio is okay, but I think, yeah, there's nothing on the master symbol chain. I'm going to do each one individually just for safety. You can hear that piercing through the mix. And I'll show you exactly where the peaks are. We've got here, we've got there, a little bit there, but the main thing we're going to be looking at is this, because it's piercing out the most. Although it does sound nice, let's reduce it. Now that movement isn't bad, but what if we reduce it a bit? You know, I'm gonna chuck a compressor on that thing. And we're gonna make it peak compressor, and we're soloing it, so we're just listening to that. Let's have a look at these peaks. Without? With. Without? With. I think it helps. And we've got more control over this volume now because we've reduced those peaks a bit. It might be a bit crazy, but let's see what works. We'll have it about there. Now the reason it's, you know, this second one is so much louder than the other isn't a compression issue. Now obviously this is quieter than this, but these two are just repeating bum, 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 right? It's side chained to the trigger. That is to say, every time this kick or snare is hitting, it's being quieter. So that's going to be quieter. That's louder, and this is the loudest peak because it's in between them. That's the one that we're going to be looking at, and let's try it again. And this time it probably needs to be a little more quiet because I've taken away the compressor, but we don't need that compressor. All it's doing is taking away the transients, really, and we don't need to do that. We can see the peak still there, right there on the second peak, and it should be on that second peak as well. A little bit. About there is good. Now let's work on these hi-hats. We're going to solo it, get our ears familiar with the sound. And we know that the frequency's around there as well on the master chain. Let's boost it. We can see it very clearly over there. We can keep this one relatively loud, to be honest, because of how high pitched it is. Let's leave it there. Now this crash I might struggle with because it's got quite a wide frequency range. Let's have a look and have a watch. You can see that it covers all of that, which is quite a lot of information. And there's not any specific peaks. Maybe we've got a little bit of a peak here. I mean, it ducks for some reason there. That brings it up again over here, which in my opinion is information that we don't even need. So let's bring it up and slowly reduce it down. We can always adjust this later on in the mix down process. I'm going to bring it all the way up so we can see it nice and clearly. Now, it's not really worth looking at this area too much. We should be more looking at this peak. The reason is I'm going to be cutting out this area. In fact, it may be beneficial to cut out that area right now. Let's not do 4 times, let's stick it with that. Do it about there. I'm not getting too much information out of it, but at a later stage we're going to do the ×4 reduction. You can't see it very well, but there's a really steep one and it looks like that. I don't want to do this one yet. The reason is that that's going to cause a bunch of resonant peaks building up if I do it often. And because I'm going to be doing it later on at a later stage, I don't want to do it just yet. I don't want to cause that peak to exist. So we're going to keep the more gentle roll-off instead, just allowing us to push the limits a little more later on. So we can see the frequencies are here. We're going to ignore this, like I say. We're aiming for these ones and controlling those. We can hear it very clearly. Now, what might be beneficial is using some EQing to work through these peaks. So this is peaking about here and a little bit there, but mainly right there, right? If we look over here, we'll see the exact frequency. So I'm going to put my mouse where the peaks are. Call it these two right here. So put it almost in the middle of it. 6.74 kilohertz. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take this and go, take this and go over to 6.74 kilohertz, which is actually slightly lower than I expected, but there we go, 6.74 kilohertz. And I'm going to have it ducking just a smidgen, and we're going to make it relatively sharp, but it's ducking now. And that's going to give space for that hi-hat. All together. Now without the peak, have a listen with and without the peak. Let me turn the volume up so you can hear it, be prepared. Okay, this is with the peak being removed. We're listening to this. We're listening to the clarity of this sound. Apologies. We're listening to the clarity of that hi-hat sound. And now this is without the peak. Almost fades away in the mix. Have a listen again. Just makes it a little bit more clean. And we do lots of those little bits, all of a sudden it becomes a lot more clean. And that's it. I'm going to bring the volume back down again because we're about to introduce some more noise again. Maybe we do more adjustments to this crashes, and maybe the hi-hats as well. To be honest, this does seem like it's okay as it is. I'm going to leave it for now, trust the process. And then at the end, we can always adjust the crashes and the hi-hats and make it a little more tamed if we need to. Now, next up, we're going to work on the breaths. The breaths is very interesting. Very interesting. Because it's a very noisy sound. If you have a look at the frequency range, it should be quite wide. Yeah, very noisy, almost flat. Yeah. Not a huge amount of specific peaks. I'm hoping that, because I know that these are different breaths. I mean, this is breath 9. Well, they're both breath 9. Is that breath 9 as well? These are all breath 9? This is the tail of breath 6 for some reason. But okay, it is all pretty much breath 9. Okay, fantastic. Okay. Alright, we're going to get the noise involved again. And we're going to adjust this breath accordingly. Might need to even increase the gain here, because this is already at 0. I don't really want to be pushing it up. And the most I can really push it up to is +6 anyway. But we'll see. That's the noise breath on its own. And let's go with a pink noise. See, it's too quiet even to be able to be seen, so I'm going to increase the gain here. Apologies. We're going to increase the... There is no gain here. So we're going to go to utility, and we're literally just going to give it plus 10 decibels. That should surely give us some information to see now. And we're going to adjust the volume and make it quieter. You can see, ooh, let's loop that. We can see the peaks over here. Plenty peaks. That's what we're going to be adjusting. I can still see some peaks over there. I'm not sure if it's that, so I'm going to turn it off and check. It's not that. I think we're happy where it is, but let's give it a little more attention to detail and make sure that we're happy. The 12.4 is what I've got, but let's just redo it. .2 is good as well. I could probably get away with even up to -10 because I can hear it quite clearly. And the thing is that this is in a space where there's not much else playing, so we could probably pump the volume up a bit as well, but I don't want to go too crazy with it. Now let's get started with the Firestarter vocals. Now we've got a compressor on this, good, so it should roughly be all the same sort of volume. So let's just loop just that, and we will work with just that, nothing else. We're going to use this master, the group volume control. We can see a lot of frequencies going all over the place. That's the thing with vocals, especially when you've got movement like I've got. So let's work with that. I can hear it very clearly. About there might be fine. Let's have a listen to over here. It's the frequencies we're looking for. Yeah, I think that's fine. So let's have a listen to what it sounds like so far without the sharp noise. Yeah, this is the song without the noise, just the drums and just the vocals. I've turned the volume up a bit for you guys so you can hear a little cleaner. Alright, cool. We can always change things later on. Now you can see that I've got quite a big tip here. You may be wondering, why is there a duck here? It's probably for a reason. My guess is it's for the symbols. So let's have a look. Put 1.94 there. Now let's see what area the symbols are peaking. What's happening at 1.94? 1.94. That's right there. That makes sense. But what I need to remember is that that's peaking there. But what about here? Okay. And there, it's peaking over here at 956. Does that change? It doesn't. Why not? That should absolutely change, shouldn't it? If I want to keep those glass symbols peeking out, it should absolutely change. So I think that's something that we're going to automate right now. So over here, we can see it goes down to here. And if we look over here, we can see the frequency. You're looking at 961. So we can turn these off. We don't need anything. We don't even need that, to be honest. But 961 is what we want it to automate down to. And I'm going to adjust the frequency, pressing A, and excuse me. It's not non-duck, it's duck. That's what we want to be adjusting. And right there is where we want it to go down to 961. Let's zoom in significantly more so that we can find that 961, or close enough to it. 968 might have to be the one that we want, but let's see if we can zoom in more. I cannot zoom in more. I'm going to bring this down so that it's very clear that that's what we are doing. Okay, I think 968 might be the closest we can get to. Let's see if we can get closer. No, 968 is the closest. We've got 951 as well, so we'll do 968. And that should, let's make that smaller as well. We don't need that to be massive. And I think that should just repeat. Nice. And there's no, yeah, sure, whatever. Awesome. Do we have it here still? We do. Let's keep it clean. Do we have it here still? We do. Let's check this. Yeah. Alright, there we go. Not sure why I didn't automate that in the first place, but we have now, and that's all that matters. Let's see how this song ends. I'm going to turn off the noise for this. Oh, good, it's already off. It might be really loud. Okay, it just ends like that. That's fine, I guess. I don't like that crush symbol, but not in the mixdown. We don't change things like that in the mixdown process. That's a production concept. Yum, yum, yum. Okay, let's get the reference back in. We're done with the drums, we're done with the non-duck, now we're moving on to the duck. let's for now close that. We're going to turn off FX, turn off intro, and keep drop on. We're going to make that into smaller pieces and turn all of these off. Everything that is currently on will be off except for the sub. There we go. So that's what we're going to be starting with. We're going to loop just the sub, and everything else is going to be playing as well. For some reason I've got it roll up here. Is this actually just pure sub? It is. But I've got roll up there. Whatever. Sure. Whatever. Okay. Alright, so it's going to have noise. I'm going to adjust the volume, make sure it's not too loud for you all. And let's get into it. So we can see the sub very clearly peaking here. Very, very clearly. And we'll just reduce that. As you reduce the sub, you can hear the kick and the snare much more clearly. I think about there is fine. Now that's sub, and now apparently there's sub here. Sub's really, really low. What? Oh, what could sub here be? Sub is down there? Then what's this? Oh. Okay, I see. You're around 60. Okay, sure. Alright, let's move on. That's a big peak right there. That's what we're working with. My headphones can't even pick that up, so I have to use just eyes, and I think that's fine here. That looks good. It'll have to look good. I think that's fine. Alright, let's move on to the Flamethrower. How exhilarating. So this is what the Flamethrower sounds like in all its glory. Sorry, soloed. Make it a little louder so you can hear it. Yeah, it's quiet. It's quiet. Alright, so we'll probably make that quite loud. Louder, rather. Because it needs to be a part of the song. With the noise and everything else. Now we've got some sub information. I take it I've probably EQ'd it, yeah. And I've EQ'd it after the saturator. Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, it's working really hard to remove that sub information. Okay, that's fine. It's not easy to see these peaks. It's very noisy. Let's mainly look at that, and then we can reduce that down. I think that's the best we can do. Maybe a little more, because we can see peaks over here during the first part. Let's call it there. Alright, next up we've got the flamethrower sound. Now, this is what the flamethrower sound sounds like. We've got information down here that we definitely need to get rid of, especially since we've got a sub ear already hitting around the 60 Hz area. It looks like I've already tried to get rid of it, but in my opinion, I mean, it's not enough, is it? It's not enough, so we're going to double down. And I'm moving this one in a different area to this, mainly because I don't want those frequencies here to build up too much. But also I do need to get rid of that sub if I can. And that's helped a lot. We've got a little bit of noise there, but it is what it is. Yeah. And now we're just going to adjust the flamethrower. I want this to be a relatively major part of the song. You can see the peaks are over here, and this is going to have to be quite loud, and because it's noisy, it probably will be perceived as quite loud as well. Alright, let's get into it. That's where our peaks are, and we're going to adjust it. About there. Sounds good to me. Flame notes. This is what the flame notes sound like. We don't have exact peaks because it's almost quite flat, but as a result we might be looking at over here for the highest peak. Because it's flat and it's not showing the same sort of curve as the pink noise is, this part, despite it being same as flatness, might be the peak. So it might be over here, it might be this area, but I think it's actually going to be over here. It would be cool if I take these frequencies and cut these exact frequencies out of the rest of the stuff to make it pierce through the mix a little better. And I think I might do that right now, to be honest. So let's investigate what these frequencies are. About there. I'm going to duck that down. I'm going to make it like that. I'm just going to drag it. But the problem is that later on it changes. We've got this. And then goes on to that. Terrible. I really don't like them. To be honest with you, they just feel so soft. Even though I've tried thickening them out very much, so it just feels too soft. It is what it is. Okay, let's hey, where did that go? Did I put it on here then? Where did it go? Oh shit, is it on a random thing right now? Fuck. Where did I put it? Where did I put it? Yeah, I found this frequency. I ducked it down. I see. Alright, we're going to copy that. Turn that off. Bring that up. put that there. There we go. Okay, so that means that this is ever so slightly ducked in that area. I could have just used one of these. Why use 3 EQs? But who gives a shit, man? The CPU can handle it probably. It's in the mixdown phase, but we're near the end anyway. Let's collect all and save just in case the CPU cannot handle it. All right, let's move forward. So this is what we're looking for. These peaks. That's what we're fucking with, yeah. Let's go. We can see it very clearly here, and hear it very clearly. That's what we're working with. About there. And this should, in theory, be the same volume. Yeah, because it is pretty much the same thing. It's just doing a different movement. But let me just double check with the noise off. Awesome. And by the way, I really like how loud that is. I'm not sure if it should be, but I really quite like it. Yeah, fucking sick. I'm gonna need to adjust the volume. It needs to be quieter, but it's naughty how much I like that sound, to be honest. I like how much it pierces through the mix. But yeah, no, I have to, because I have to remove it or adjust it. It should be a feeling rather than it should be like a texture rather than a main attraction. Anyway, this. We've got peaks over here now. Looking at 183-ish. Is this 183? No. Let's find 183. Oh yeah, it is. It is pretty much 183. All right, that's fine. It's still ducking where it needs to be ducking. But yeah, we can see the frequencies that we're working with, so let's get into it. It's very clear where they are. Now, this is worrying because I want it to be perceived as the same volume. I don't think that's going to be working for me. Let's keep it moving. We need a compressor. Well, we need a clip limiter, so let's throw that on. I think I've already got limit and clip limit. Clip limit. Cool. Let's just solo that and work with just that. Cool. Cool. About there. Could even do 24 point. Say it's same as that. Let's investigate. Let's have a listen to it in context. Yeah, alright, fuck it. This thing is so fucking loud, man. I really like it. I really do like it. It's such a shame. I know that I need to make it quieter because it's stupid in the mix, but I really fucking love it. I really, really do. All right, preverb flame. So that's just a build-up of one of these things. Let's have a listen to it on its own. Okay, and these are the frequencies we're looking at. Let's go. Here and here, that's what we're looking. Really about there. There we go. I can hear it, but it's not overwhelming anymore. Next up, we've got the stabby bass. I'm not really quite sure what this sounds like or what it's going to be. This is what we're working with. Okay. Okay, it's kind of weak, but hey, is what it is. If we've got this, then we don't need this sub, to be honest with you, because it's clearly got sub and it's going to mess up with the mix. I could just make that sub weaker. I think that's what I'm going to do. There we go. Cool. So this is the peak that we're working with over here. Let's get started. You can see it clearly. You can hear it clearly. Yeah, about there. Awesome. Let's move on to the intro stuff. Very fun. It's an intro of flame noise, I guess. It just says NO. Notes. Okay. All right. That's what this sounds like. I take it. It gets louder. Nope. I guess you just want it to be a feeling because that is fucking quiet. And by you, I mean me. Let's make everything else silent. So we've got the noise and we've got this intro flame notes happening. I'm going to put it max and have a listen. That's what we're working with. Oh, good reverb on that. I really like the sounds. That's good. All right, let's go. So it's these peaks here. There's not really much else playing, so it's these peaks here. Out there. Have a listen to this. Classic. What if we just remove that? And remove the sub, because we don't need the sub if we've got that. Now, that's fine, but that sub is too big. We don't have a choice. I don't want to adjust that because there's no back button on this. Well, what we can do is do a simple duck-in. Out there. So we want it still it can peak up more than that, but not too much. That's all. We want it to have almost the shape of the pink noise, and that gives us more freedom to work with in terms of sub information. There we go. That's what we're looking at. In theory, if we can get all three of these peaks like perfectly in line with the pink noise, that would be perfect. There we go. Benj says you don't need to play pink noise to do this. Anyway, let's move forward. Now we've got grit. Let's have a listen to what grit is. Now this one's got much more low information. I think we can keep that going. I think sub's got a lot of information. Let's get rid of that upper frequency and keep just the real low warmth. That's going to help. And I think, yeah, let's combine them and see if it doesn't muddy up the mix too much. If it does, then we remove it. It simply means 3 decibels roll off per octave. Any analyzer showing a spectrum in octaves will suffice. Gotcha. I like using pink noise for my ears and my eyes. You're absolutely right. But this doesn't show octaves, if I'm not mistaken. Do you know how to change it to allow to show octaves with the stock Ableton EQ, if it's possible? You're also then not limiting your ability to hear when brown noise suits a signal from an elbow point across the veneer. What are you? I don't understand what you're trying to say there. Brown noise suits a signal from an elbow point across the veneer. I've no clue what that means. Brown noise is 6 decibel roll-off. Yeah. I use TC Electronics meter. I don't know how to change it in Ableton. Gotcha. Okay. So to be honest with you, I don't need this low frequency. I'm really caring about that upper end grit here. So I'm going to leave that off. I'm going to roll this up. Just have it about there is fine. Because that still gives us a lot of noisy information, to be honest. There we go. Still lots of noisy information, but we've got more control over that. I might even give it a plus 10 decibels. I've got a limiter after it anyway, so it should be fine. Still got that grit to it. Maybe TDL Prism Analyzer would help. It's free and very customizable and detailed. Yeah, it could do. Could do. I quite like pink noise though. There's no harm. It still works, you know? Alright, let's get back into it with the pink noise. So you can hear the frequencies peaking out right there. And that's what we're going to be adjusting. You're massively handcuffing yourself doing it over pink noise. I don't think I am, because here's the plan, Benj. I do it with pink noise, and then at the end, and the pink noise is the reference, and then at the end I listen to it all together and make any minor or extra adjustments that I need to. I can hear it so clearly with pink noise. Pink noise almost fills in the gaps. The specific sound that I'm listening to, it fits into place so much nicer for me. I'm tempted to turn on the PC. I'm tempted to turn the PC on so I can type in detail, but it would be walls of text. Yeah, don't do that to yourself or to me. Don't worry about it, bro. Don't worry about it. I understand what you're saying, and I agree you want to follow noise curves. Yeah, and I think I understand what you're saying in saying that I don't need to do it whilst actually listening to noise. I can use an analyzer that shows octaves, specifically octaves, and I can make sure that it is 3 decibels down per octave as you go up octaves, per pink noise, per what you've said. I'm okay. But you're missing so much extra, you're hindering yourself. Perhaps. But when I started using pink noise, my mixdowns became so much more clean. And don't forget, this is just one stage of the mixdown process. This is not the end. This isn't even the beginning, because I do a little bit of mixdown prior. This is arguably it's one of the main parts of my mixdown process, but it is not. You're forcing a very narrow outcome. You can work to noise curves whilst allowing so much freedom. That's okay. That's okay, because like I say, after I'm done with the noise, I reevaluate and make any adjustments. For example, have a listen to what it sounds like so far without the noise, right? Now there's something that pierces through the mix, and you're going to hear it. I'm sure you're going to notice it. And just know that I'll be changing it later on. And I know that I'm changing it, but I first start with the process. Have a listen. You'll notice it right away, I'm sure. Yeah, you hear that? To me, it's this. It's too loud compared to everything else. And I can adjust that, but I'm going to do it later on. First, trust the process, then you can make micro adjustments after. Extremities and contrast make great mixes, and you can work these in whilst factoring noise profiles. Well, absolutely. Why? By making the loudest parts with the noise, I can then bring other things down to add texture. Yeah? It makes loud things be perceived more loud if I can make quieter things quieter. But first, I just want to make sure that everything is in line, then I can bring down the extra stuff, if that makes sense. I keep the kick, the snare, the loudest during the pink noise, and then maybe hi-hats and vocals next, and then the main synth, and everything else. If I can push the sub, I will try to be honest, but only if I can. I hear that, but some areas in your upper mids would suit brown noise better, elbowing from pink to brown to pink, and following a blue curve upwards even from an elbow point. Hey, you guys got a friend now. You guys being you guys are friends. Well, welcome to the stream, A10. Alright, I think I've finished with this grit. Let me just double check. Turn down the volume for you a bit. Yeah, again, see, it's a bit loud, but I can always adjust it later on. Let's move on to the sub. That's the frequency peak that we're working with. Lovely. And finally, we are done. And we can move on to the effects. Boy howdy, are there a lot of effects. Can't stick around long. As far as I can tell, my tracks aren't going to mix themselves. Damn right, A10. I feel you, brother. Lim. There is an EQ designed around noise curves entirely called Ceilings of Sound. Check it out. It's perfectly suited to what you're doing. Okay, thank you. I'll check it out. Anything that improves my mixdown process, I am down to investigate, to be honest. And I am taking your feedback on board. I do appreciate the effort that you're putting in to help me. Ceilings of Sound. Ceilings of Sound. Is it Yurt Rock? Is this it? This is a whole bundle. Is that it? This must be it. Yeah, this line, absolutely perfect. Really, really pretty. And very nice to have. Very helpful to have. Yeah, this is it. There we go. Yeah, very, very awesome. Thank you for sharing. I've saved it. I'll get back to it later, don't worry. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so we've got all of these. We're going to turn these all off one by one. And start with the motherfucking flamethrower. It's that same sound, and I think this is going to be too loud as well. Let's investigate. And with the noise. See, I don't want to use the pink noise this time. I just want to use my ears, because I know that's a bit of a guttural sound. And these noisy stuff, generally we want them quieter anyway. A lot of these effects, we want them quieter than the pink noise will want us to do. Stuck mixing others, damn. But hey, money's money, and hey, practice is practice. It's only going to make your own mixes better the more you mix others for your own. It's a win-win-win. That is fucking quiet. I'm going to increase the gain here by 10 decibels. And now we're going to work on it. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it sounds like it's a lot of low energy down there. Alright, let's leave it there, and we'll adjust it later on. I think a lot of these, if not all of these, we should be adjusting with our ears rather than anything else. So I'm going to call it here for the reference. Yeah, let's call it here for the reference. And collect all and save. Start from the top. And we'll hear when things are a bit loud and whatnot. Hey, welcome PG, thanks for coming down. And A10, thanks for subscribing. Oh wow, there's a lot of messages. That's cool though. Okay, Limam, nice to meet you. I'm subbing. Benj, always good to see you, bro. Before the blah blah bloop, I've got to jump, blah blah bloop 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 bloop. Damn, Benj. You know what would be cool? If you get paid per hour for mix up. No, then again, it's not. That's also not ideal, because if you're just fast at working, you don't want to get paid too little. It's an interesting one. Yeah. Anyway, let's move forward. I'm going to turn on everything, and we're just going to work with it and see what happens. We can close that down now. I'll bring the volume up a bit so you can hear everything a bit better. Let's increase this. Do I have a compressor on this? I don't even, it's just it's so much louder over here. Let's investigate. Alright, let's get a fucking compressor on that. Yeah, much more comfortable. Yeah, I'm happy with that. We need the vocals slightly more loud. And there's a boom, which is potentially too loud. Hey, what's going on here? Thanks for the follow, PG. Yeah, per hour caps your income too much. Yeah, it does. Puts a threshold. Yeah, it does. For sure. PG, do you produce? Do you do your own mix downs? What's up? What brings you down to this stream? Yeah, produce. House mainly. Damn. You want to know a fun fact? I normally don't send my tracks to labels, but I'm a dubstep producer, right? But 100% of my songs that have been signed to labels have been tech house songs, unfortunately. 100% of them. I'm not a huge fan of house or tech house. Bass house is my favorite type of house if I were to enjoy a house. Welcome, tenuous. What does tenuous mean? Well, it feels like a real word, but I'm not actually sure. Means weak. Gotcha. Cool name. Tenuous. It genuinely is fun to say. Cool. Respect that. Should we put this fucker in mono and have a little bit of fun? Make sure everything's nice in mono. Alright, let's keep it going. Nice. Cool. That's way too fucking loud. Alright, let's keep it moving. I want it to be a feeling, like a texture, more than a sound. Hmm. What if we make it shorter? See, I think that helps. Hey, I was wondering, do you write music with people? I do. As in, do you mean collaborate? I do. I've been tempted to make lo-fi house. Been kicking the right idea. You absolutely, Benj, you should make it. Fuck genres, bro. Make whatever you want. Here's a suggestion that I really, really highly recommend. Just make songs, as many as you can. Don't worry about it being good or bad. You don't need to release everything you make. If you make a song a day for a year, the chances are that they're going to be, terrible. But there's going to be so many good songs within them. Whereas if you make one song a month, you could spend a whole month on a track just for it to still be crap. You could spend a day on a track for it to be crap. But bro, you're doing 365 of them versus 12 of them a year. Do as many as you can. That's 100% what I recommend. I have a niche setup. It's all Akai, MPCs, and EMU samplers. Brother, I don't know what the majority of what you just said is. Is this hardware? Because I'm a software guy. Well, I make cinematic orchestral music. Oh, cool. It's very cool. As I make/mix boom bap for people. Gotcha. So it's about leaning into another genre that my setup will serve. Fucking do it, bro. Hardware sequences, gotcha. Do it, bro. Literally nobody's stopping you except yourself. Just do it and reap the rewards. It's just so good. It's also good for creativity if you just fucking make so many songs. Just make, bro. That is exactly what we needed right there, and I'm going to make this even shorter. I just needed to make it softer as it goes on. Here, look, this is 15.5, and my guess is that this, where is it? Stabby bass, 14. It is louder actually. Just feels quieter. That sub is powerful. Okay, maybe that's why. Anyway. Thanks for subscribing, Cal, Sam. The writing is absolutely minuscule. I don't know how to fucking make that bigger, because I can't read that. You looking at peak or average? Oh, bro, I was literally looking at this just fucking number, to be honest with you. Its peak might be louder, but dynamic range greater. Yeah. 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 Yep. All right. Yeah, I mean, look, I know that this is too loud, yeah? But let me deal with these two things first. Just extra crackle to the sound, which is just fucking awesome. Hang the fuck on. Hang the fuck on. Hang the fuck on. I'm worried about having naughty frequencies here. Specifically, yeah, look at that shit. Too much. Too much. Let's just do a quick steep roll off. Yeah, for the vibe that we need, you don't need lower than that. You don't need lower than that. Also, if you compare LUFS to RMS on a signal with low end and see a disparity, it can point to too much bass amplitude in a sound. That makes sense. It's an easy way to spot the way LUFS and RMS calculate differently. Yeah. Yeah, well, learn just fucking fucks everything up a lot of the time, doesn't it? That's why I'm so like fucking even here. I'm picky with that shit. There was all this low end frequency, all this fucking low end frequency. It fucks everything up, man. And my ears are shot as well, by the way. I can't hear like over 14K, 13K maybe even. And actually, let's investigate. Let's loop this and see what I can and can't hear. I can still hear that, to be fair. I can just about hear that. Yeah, I can't hear a thing now. Can you hear that? Let me turn the volume up. 14.5K. Oh wow. This right now, this is well. It says it's 15.4 kilohertz. Can you hear that? I think I can hear slight clicking, but there might, there's just information underneath it as well, to be fair. I could hear that just now. Oh wow. Fair enough. From my phone. Oh wow. I didn't know phones had that decent of a frequency range, to be honest. Anyway, let's get rolling. This is actually, so I won it really crunchy for that second half of the part, but I think that's fine actually. Yeah, call it there. Okay, now this armor is competing with this, so I might just investigate the cutting of this. Just see what happens. Otherwise, I'll just reduce the volume. I actually like that. I actually like that. Go on then. Fuck it. It gives a lot more movement there. Fuck, that's not bad. Okay, maybe my hearing improved. I have a thyroid issue which affects it sometimes. Interesting. Can reduce the high end unless I'm hearing harmonics or something. Can reduce the high end. High end of what? Of these crackly sounds. Is that what you mean? The crackly sounds? I mean, there is quite a lot of peaking shit going on there. But I've got the whole thing ducking. Weirdly enough, this is actually one of the hi-hats. I've got it ducking under the hi-hats anyway. Though it doesn't hurt. Now I was saying the thyroid can affect the high end of my hearing. Gotcha. Interesting, yeah. Damn. I don't even know what a thyroid is, to be honest. I've heard it many times. Thyroid. Yeah, I don't. I'm fully ignorant in this area. I think we're closing in on having a decent mixdown. Now, this vocals lands directly on this loud part, so I don't know how I'm going to fix that part. Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's not the best. I still like that movement. I might leave that there, though we could move it back, couldn't we? Let's have that there. So let's be fucking nitty picky about this. and have it duck directly. Why don't I just fucking sidechain compress this? I might as well. After doing all this shit. I mean, there's only those two. Yeah, shall I just sidechain compress it? It'll give it some fun movements as well, won't it? We're looking for OG. There it is. And let's do it over here where I've not fucked with anything. Peak. Let's do infinite. You know what I really unapologetically want? More high end on this part. But only there. So I am going to automate that. Just hear what it sounds like. Experiment a little bit with that. Bring this down to 0. Don't do this to me. That'll do. That's not bad. Oh, that's not bad in my opinion. That's not bad in my opinion. I didn't until mine became very underactive. When that happens, organs begin to kind of stop working. That's horrifying, bro. If you ever feel unbalanced physically, it's the thing to investigate. What does that mean? Oh, have you seen Shaperbox? Amazing tool for automation and movement, etc. I got it a little while back, looking forward to getting creative with it. Very creative tool. No, I've not heard of it. What does it do? What is Creative Box? I quite like this. I'm going to copy it and see if it works over here as well. Yeah, that's pretty decent. That's pretty decent. Might need to adjust the volume, but that's pretty decent. Yeah, fuck yeah. That's what we cook with. That is exactly what we cook with. Nothing more, nothing less. That's what we cook with. Fucking love that. Cannot believe that worked so well. You're just finding solutions to these little problems. That's what mixing is. That's what makes a perfect mixdown. And you can spend forever on a mixdown if you wanted to. I'm waiting for my wife to get out of bed. So I'm happy to chill and take my time on this mixdown. To be honest, we're closing in on the end. We're almost nitpicking at this point, to be honest. Okay. I meant if you ever feel long time ill, like your body isn't working right, it can often be a thyroid issue. That's horrifying. Yeah, no, okay. Shaperbox is a tool that gives detailed automation curves triggered on a bar/count or transient triggers or whatever parameter. Gotcha. Yeah. Well, that's, to me, that sounds relatively similar to the modulators you've already got. I mean, the shaper, which, yeah, it's not as detailed as your one, but you can still shape it as you wish. I think I don't use it as much as I suppose I should. You can even turn off snap. So you've got decent control, and then you can automate that. You can map it to, whatever you want. Let's map it to that, right? Which is kind of cool. But look into it. I'm not doing them justice. Okay, yeah, fair. Because yeah, it's something I use an envelope follower quite a lot. I really, really quite love envelope followers because of the movements that it can give, depending on where you put it in the effects chain. Apologies, wherever you put it in the effects chain can make some really cool stuff. It's not just a wave shaper. It's a way to control tons of stuff. Alright, cool. Cool. A dynamic EQ is a great tool to control the high end. Love that crunchy sound. Yeah, no, you know what? I don't even have a dynamic EQ, which is a bit of a shame. The closest thing that I've got to a dynamic EQ is, oh shit, I'm not going to be able to remember what it's called. Is it Wavegrove? Nah, it's not Wavegrove. Fuck. No, I'm not going to be able to remember it. Shit. Wait, Hornet. Yeah, there we go. No, apparently it's not this. Okay, I feel like this is just going to make my shit explode, so I'm just going to stop that right then. But I think that's the closest thing I've got. Let's see if maybe it's a VST instead. There we go. This is the closest thing I've got to a sort of dynamic EQ. I love envelope followers and envelope modulator. Yeah, me too. EQ8 is a great one to look into. EQ8. I mean, this is EQ8, but it's not spelt the same way as you writing it. This one is literally like EQ8, like the words. Crunchy sound. You could convert the delta from a de-esser and use it as an exciter to dynamically EQ the highs. That's true. Do I have a de-esser? I literally don't even use the de-esser if I've got one. I assume it's in dynamics. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I mean, we've got dynamic. So in fact, in multi-band dynamics, there is a built-in de-esser, which does de-essing. But I don't think I've got a de-esser per se as a plugin itself. That's good, an exciter. Yeah, fuck it. OTT is all is my fucking thing of choice. Get rid of that before I forget about it. All right, let's hear what this sounds like. I think we might be closing in on the end. Let me close everything because it's gonna stress me out a bit. Nothing needs to be open. Sorry, excuse the messiness. Hey, gentle riser. There's nothing there. Okay. Let's delete that. Lovely. Much nicer. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Let's collect all and save, so if I ever come back to this, this is what I get to see. All right, who's excited to have a listen to the full thing outside of mono, because I'm treating everybody. I like to DS mixes, especially when going to vinyl. I never go to vinyl. I never ever go to vinyl. I don't DS mixes, though. I've got Vasthouse, which to be honest with you, almost sounds like a de-esser. Vasthouse. It's really awesome plugin, by the way, and completely free. I was about to solo the master. I think there's something wrong with me. Oh, thanks for the follow. Thanks for the subscribing. Gazing Wrath. The writing's too small. I've really fucked it with that. I need to fix that. Yeah, have a listen to this. This is full wetness. Let's do 8 times so that you can hear it nice and clearly. This is on. This is off. On. Off. Maybe a bit more pronounced with the hi-hats. On. Off. Yeah, completely free plugin, really awesome. I use it every time for mastering, and I use it almost like Soothe. It's my version of Soothe, essentially. Very good. Yeah. Pretty much de-essing if you think about it, because it reduces peaks, you know, and resonant peaks. Thanks for letting us see process and mixture, your processing and mixing. Yeah, no problem, Nolly. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get 500 hours anyway, and this is the shit that I need to be doing anyway. I need to be doing the mix down for this. It's part of my EP of circus music. This is arguably my least favorite song on the EP, but you know, with a good mix down, at least it's a polished turd. All right, let's have a listen. All in all, and we get to look at the EQ8 as something enjoyable to watch as we go through. Anything you guys hear wrong or anything that you think that might need adjusting, let me know. But otherwise, I think it might be all right. We'll see. Now this is going to be a bit nitpicky. I'm so sorry for stopping it right away. But this boom. Yeah, I'm going to, I was thinking of putting the whole boom into mono, but I think I'm just going to bass mono. And unfortunately you can't see because my head's in the way. Hang on, let me, ta-da, there we go. Yeah, bass mono, I'm going to turn it quite high up. Out there. Oh, hello. All right, yeah, sorry about that. All right, as you were, let's carry on. So this is the sound I was adjusting just then. Though I do like it, but it should be more of a texture rather than a standalone synth. Without. With. Cool. Just realized you guys were talking about fucking with the delta of the de-esser and using the de-esser and whatnot, because I had dynamic EQ because I increased the high end and had to automate it. You're absolutely right. I could use an LFO for that automation. But at the end of the day, I think automation was I think, yeah, if I had any of those dynamic EQs, things like that, it would definitely speed up my process. You're absolutely right. Yeah, sorry, it just hit me. All right, yeah, sorry, carry on. Now I've got an idea which might be a bit crazy. This is something that I've not done before. So it might just absolutely not work. Now there's actually two plugins that I've got that do this, but there's one that I really prefer. God, I need to start Dear Reality. It's not that, but it is from Dear Reality. Dear VR. Okay. Now this is really good for spatial spaces, right? This is essentially mono right now. Let me just loop that. And I want to fuck with the elevation. That's what I want to be doing. I want to have it gently wobble. and keep it relatively lower in terms of elevation underneath the synths that going, because that needs to be higher up. I want this to be almost just, I mean, underneath it. Yeah, in terms of space. The old WA units were used for similar to, yeah, you and your hardware, bro. I don't have any hardware, bro. I don't even have a MIDI keyboard. Literally. Nothing. I don't even have a MIDI keyboard, bro. I use my fucking laptop keyboard as the MIDI keyboard. I use a pair of those ones on someone's album very badly to make it all noisy for that request. Interesting. Oh, but use that detection stuff. Mad, yeah. Fucking people wanting noise. So I'm gonna do it in context because I need to be able to hear where it is. See there, it's almost in line with it. So I'm looking for about there, and I'm going to bring that over, and we're looking at elevation. I'm going to leave this open so that I can sort of make sure that it's not going too much. I'm going to get a modulator out. I'm going to get the LFO. I'm going to... Okay, we're going to do it on 2 beats. I think one is, I don't know, I'm just going to have to explore. And I'm going to chuck this onto elevation. And we want it to go down to at most 30. Cool, and goes up to there at most. Let's go down a bit. Too much. Okay, 33 is actually exactly where we want it to be. So let's try 2837 and let's have a listen. That is subtle. Let's make it faster. Faster. That's too fast, but let's leave it. I quite like that actually. All right, I'm going to have this grouped up, and I'm going to have it before this EQ. In fact, I'm going to have it before all 3 of these EQs. The reason I'm having it before this EQ is because I know that it's going to give different frequencies, and I don't want it to interact with this, which is ducking underneath those synths anyway. Anyway, let's sorry about that. Let's carry on. And this should should pierce through the mix a little better now. If it works, it works. Yeah, true. Don't look at that EQ, it's hideous, I'm sorry. EQ is just phase shift to reach the desired tonality. Don't worry about how it looks. No, you're right. You're right. It's just that is absolutely hideous. Wait, what fucking, what was it? It was intro. Would have been this one, yeah. Yeah, but you're right though. It was absolutely fucking necessary, man. I mean, this peak is really, in my opinion, what makes it so fucking ugly. But the with and without is going to be fucking night and day. All right. So with, without. It's not. It's. I'd be wrong to say that it sounds bad without. It doesn't sound bad. It's just for the mix. That's what I wanted. Yeah, fucking. Yeah, it was necessary, man. It was necessary. I promise. I promise. Please forgive me. Yeah, you've seen worse. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've seen worse. I think that's the worst that I've potentially ever done. It's just so fucking extreme. I'm to be honest, the majority of my, maybe not that, the majority of, yeah, my majority of my EQs just look like that because I've already made. I mean, this one I didn't make, but I normally make the synth already how I want it to sound. So all I really need to do is remove the sub, generally speaking. Team, buddy, to be honest with you, I think we're done here in terms of mixdown. I'm going to collect all and save, and I'm going to label this, buddy. I'm going to label this as yellow to let me know that I've done the mixdown. And before I go, I would like to play you a song that is unreleased. Let's have a listen to my favorite one. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm looking to blow your mind right now, Benj. This is my plan. Absolutely blow your mind. This is normally how my shit is structured, by the way. Not separate colors. I don't even fucking name stuff. As you can see, there's just 16 frees, 17 frees. Wallops is enough naming for me. Anyway, over here, we've got low. And you can see I've soloed this. Do you agree that I've soloed this? Do you agree that there's nothing else playing? If I were to play this, there's nothing else playing. Goodbye. There's nothing else playing. Am I yeah? You agree with my statement? If I press play, nothing else is playing. This is just one synth playing 3 notes, yeah? There's no trickery here. What there is, however, is... Okay, good, yeah. So envelope follower, we've got resonator, sorry, we've got multiband, got a utility. This is probably going to make you lose your mind. We've got a vocal doubler, we've got compressor, we've got reverb, we've got utility, we've got reverb again. And then we've got Serum 2 doing a lot of fun stuff. Plenty of things and plenty of... This is one that I've made, yeah? This is a synth. I do use presets, but they're presets that I've made, yeah? Because my favorite part of production is the process of making synths. And this is a synth that I made. Nothing else is playing. This is not multiple synths. This is one synth, all right? I'm sure you're bored of me saying that, but have a listen. Nothing else is playing, just 3 notes. I'm so sorry for how loud that was. I'm going to turn down the volume for you. I'm so sorry. It was loud for me as well, but I'm so sorry. Anyway, have a listen. Now, along with this, there's just the drums, which is this. That kick's a bit distorted. Anyway, so let's have a listen to the song. So the whole song was inspired by this. That's my workflow normally. I made this song in about 2 hours. My workflow is I make a synth, and sometimes it inspires me to keep going, right? And in this case, it did. And I used that synth and just broke that same synth down into multiple pieces, such as this. And these, which are literally just that synth. It's just frozen tracks from that synth. Apologies. This is just controlled delay more than anything. And yeah, this is literally that synth, but just with effects on. All of these are the exact same synth, except for the sub, because that's a sub. But the bass is the exact same synth, but I've just adjusted it slightly. The highs are the exact same synth, but literally just pitched up. Now, let's have a listen to the song. Like I say, I'm a dubstep guy. Hopefully you like it. And this next part is also one synth. Anyway, let's go in. Sounds like vocals, doesn't it? I fucking love that song, man. I'm not a fan of that mixdown or the mastering of that after listening to that again, but I don't want to go back. I like to keep moving forward. I know it's not even released, but I don't give a shit. I've just got to keep improving. Yeah, like Valve. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, isn't it? But yeah, it's just a synth. In fact, it's just one synth that just made that whole song. It's something that I'm really quite proud of. A lot of fun made with that song. And I called it Do You Know What I'm Saying? Because it sounds like I'm saying something, and I want people to think that I am saying something in it, but there is no vocals. It's just the synths doing synthy stuff. All right, bro, look, I'm going to go because my wife's awake. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming down. And I hope you have a nice rest of your day, Benj. And yeah, thanks for coming down. And anybody else that is here and just silently lurking, that is A-okay. I'm going to stop the timer right now. Pretended to be